Hey guys, it's Dark Demo from the Adrenaline Bot forum. I'm going to show you how to set up the checkbuff simple, which is a script that's typically used for my intelligent buffer script for the H2 Classic servers. This is a script for when you have your buffer at a party and your party leader needs to invite the buffer. So we're going to go to script folders where I saved it. And we got our checkbuff simple here. So I'm going to open this, and this opens it up. And I'm going to go over these settings real quick. So put in your buffer's name right here. Make sure it's typed exactly how you have it in game. It's case sensitive. Casing does matter. By default, the script for the intelligent buffer uses 60 seconds. So what that means is when the buffs have 60 seconds remaining, it'll begin buffing. But for this script, we want it lower than what that script is. So when this script detects our buffs are within 30 seconds, and if we're missing any of these IDs we specify here, it's going to invite the buffer. The buffer will see we're under the timer if we already have the buffs, or if we don't have the buffs at all, and it'll begin buffing us. So this 123 or 124 or 125, these are example buffs. These are not actual buff IDs, but these are what we want to check within our party leader's buff set. So to find your the buff IDs, you go to the bot and you click on, I don't have it loaded here as you can see, but you click on your buffer that has the buffs, and then you go to character over here. You click on skills, and even though this is in Russian, it'll show your skills right here, and then this little column right here will have the IDs. It will give you some numbers. So whatever the name that you're looking for, like your most important buffs, some people would say the one like Berserker Spirit or Acumen or some other, let's say, profit buff. And so you get the IDs from right over here, and you change those on this. Now, this part of code is just, you don't need to change any of this stuff. But we have an option to kick the buffer. So some people use this script without using my intelligent buffer config, where it can auto leave the party for you with that setting. So some were asking how to just kick the buffer from the party. So you would turn that to 1, and then this condition here checks to make sure we have all these buffs, and then it would kick the person. Now let's say you want to have more than 3 buffs. Now you don't necessarily have to put every buff you have. If you're using my intelligent buffer config, it would auto detect what you need and what you're missing depending on how you enable the skills, and it'll give you all the buffs. But let's say that you did want to specify to check 4 buffs, and we only have 3 of them listed here. So I'll show you how to make a quick edit. So up here, these are the variables that the script uses, and they're integers, basically just numbers. So we're going to copy the kind of format we see here. So copy this text, put a comma there, and then change that number from 3 to 4. So now it has 4 of these up here. These are required so we can set these to be called on later. And then this is where we're calling on later. This symbols, colon, and an equal sign is how we define what the value is. So we're just going to copy this whole line, paste it here, and then change that 3 to 4, and then this skill to that. And now we just need to add the condition checks. So I'd say the easiest way to do this, since we have 3 here, and there's little extra codes here, as you can see, it does matter on where it goes. These ticks have a purpose. So it would be best to do it in the middle right here. And it doesn't matter if they're out of order or not. It's going to go through all these anyways. And so we'll copy the middle and then paste it under, and then change this one to the new ID that we just specified up there. And so now we have all 4 specified here. So if you don't have any of these 4 buffs, it's going to invite the buffer with a party setting to random including spoil. Now after it's done buffing, the kick buff part you need to now change to make sure that we're checking all 4 buffs. So if you were to copy this, again, it'd probably be best to do in the middle, because these, like I said, these parentheses stuff, they matter. So we'll copy this one and make sure you get that extra space in there so they're going to be proper. So we're going to paste it in, and then as you can see, it looks the same pacing, and we're going to make sure there's no duplicate here. So this is 2, this is 2. As you can see, when I highlight it, I'm using Notepad++, it highlights that section of code everywhere. So I'm going to change this extra 2 that we just copied to 4. And so now we just added a fork check. Pretty simple. I mean, a few lines of changes, and it's pretty easy. Now some people, they want to know how to have 2 different add a party buffers that are following, and this script only works for 1. So a simple fix for this, what we do, we copy the procedure. As you can see here, this is where the procedure is called, and if you're looking at it, it says begin right here. This is like the procedure, the variables for the procedure, and then this is the code telling you where it begins, and down here, as you can see the red line, it shows you where it ends. So this whole section of code is a procedure. We're going to copy it. I'm going to go down a couple, paste it. So now we got the whole list here. Procedure's been duplicated, and we're just going to add a 2 to the end. Remember to update the buffer's name and the skill IDs that you wanted to check if we're missing, or if we have, if we're kicking the buffer or not. And then down here, we're going to call this line of code right here, script new thread. This is how you start a procedure. It runs in the background as a thread. It'll keep running. And this is how you can run multiple scripts. So when you add a new thread, you want to have a little bit of a delay, because you don't want them to interrupt each other or cause a conflict somehow. So you put a delay of 100, more than enough, which is a fraction of a second. And then we're going to copy this part right here. We're going to put it under, and we're going to add that 2 to the end. And so now, as you can see, we got 2 threads running of both these check buffs. You can do this with any amount of scripts. So even if you had other scripts, as long as they're done in like procedures, functions, you can copy all that information, paste them in here, and you can keep calling on different scripts. I've had scripts calling upon 8 different scripts in one command, and they all like function perfectly because the way they were properly coded. And that's how you would set up the check buff simple on how to use with the intelligent buffer script for add a party. Thank you for watching this tutorial.